Good afternoon, folks. Not evening, good afternoon, and welcome to this special edition of An Hour with Bob. We are here at Epoch Assisted Living in Providence, Rhode Island on Blackstone Boulevard, and we're here because yours truly is trying to recover from a bad knee. I had an infected knee. I had an artificial knee put in April of 2012, and it became septic 51 days ago. I've been here 51 days. Actually, I was in the hospital for 7 days. I've been here 44 days. So a total of 51 days, and I still don't have a knee. And I'm scheduled for surgery. It is right now. Today is the 2nd of July. I'm not scheduled for surgery until August 26th. Hopefully that'll change, and I can get have some of the summer to myself. Anyway, we're here, and we're going to do a show anyway. As you know, I've done this show for 23 years. I'm in our 23rd year right now, and I've only missed 6 shows in 23 years, and that's just the way, I was brought up, that you start something, you finish it. You don't quit, you don't avoid it. Excuses are not tolerated. So I called a friend of mine that I've been trying to get on for a long time, and he hasn't been able to come on because he works in the morning, and he can't come on my normal show time, which is 7:30 at night. We tape on Monday nights 7:30, so because we're taping in the afternoon, I was able to get Ron St. Pierre. Ron, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Nice to see you.
And congratulations on your perseverance, I guess is what I should say.
Something like that, huh?
And good luck with that. You'll get some of your summer. That's pretty cool.
I never knew what CRP was until I got into the hospital.
I'm sure you're learning all the lingo.
Yeah, well, that was the biggest one, though. I never realized how important that was and how big of a deal that played in the human body.
Yeah.
And your CRP regulates the white blood count in your body. And if your CRP goes up, that's when they know you got an infection. Normally, people's CRP level is 000. And when I ever told a good friend of ours, Joe Rocco,
yeah.
I've known him for 35 years, and he was here the other night, and I said, he has his checked all the time, and which I thought was a little different. He says
He's
because,
a different guy.
Yeah, that's the barometer of the human body, the CRP level. And when I told him my CRP level was 250, he said, no, it's not possible. There's no way. And I didn't have any way to prove it on the spot.
Yeah.
But the next day I went to the head nurse, and I asked her to give me a copy of my printout. And my CRP level, in fact, on the 13th of May was 250. Wow. And after IV, they were giving me all kinds of IV medication for 6 weeks. It went from 250 to 120 to 72 to 24 to 20, up to 23.4 and down to 20 again.
I didn't know there'd be math today, by the way.
No, I know it, but it's amazing that, and he's trying to tell me, he said, you must mean 2.5. I go, no, 250. He goes, well, it could have been 25. I go, no, it was 250. So when I sent him a picture of it. I took pictures of it, I sent it to him. All he sent back to me is incredible, absolutely incredible.
Ain't technology grand, huh?
Yeah, it is. So you've been around. I've been doing the show 23 years, in my 23rd year, and I find out, well, I've known you for a long time. You've been on the show before.
I have.
A long time, a while back, though.
It's been
It was
a while, yeah.
That's because you're working mornings, and
right.
What time do you go to bed?
Shortly before I get up. That's the way it feels. And it all depends on what's going on.
Right.
If they're like the World Cup and you just have to be up on everything that's going on. And just watching it on DVR when you get up the next morning, you don't have the feeling like you've lived it and you can talk about it.
Right.
Probably as late as 11 o'clock, but I get up at 3 o'clock every morning.
And what's amazing, you are different than most. You're very sports-minded. I noticed that with your. I can tell by your Facebooks that you like.
Well, I did sports too for Channel 12 for 5 years
Right,
for the longest
exactly.
time, and I'm a big sports fan. I'm a baseball fan. Not just a Red Sox fan. I'm a baseball
Right,
fan.
as am I.
So I think when you do the kind of show that I do, which is news talk and it's spoken word, I think you really kind of owe it to the audience to know everything that's happening, whether it be sports, whether it be pop culture, local news, international news, and things like that. You gotta know a little bit about a lot of stuff.
And that's what I try to do. People, I'm the king of useless information.
You just lost me on that CRP thing. Yeah. I had no idea what you're talking. I was just nodding.
Now you know. Now you know. I didn't know it before.
So I learned something.
I had to have a knee removed.
I learned something to come here today. How about that?
Everybody learns when they come here, and I learn every day. If you don't learn, if you go through a day without learning something,
I agree.
It's a bad day.
I agree.
right?
I agree, totally.
Now, I also learned
Yes.
that you're from Pawtucket originally.
Yeah, I'm a kid from the Bucket. I was born in Woodlawn. I grew up in Darlington.
Now, wait a minute. Let's stop you right there.
Yeah.
Where in Woodlawn?
Trenton Street?
I live in Woodlawn.
Do you really?
To this day, yeah.
Trenton Street. I lived on Sisson Street.
I live on McGill Street.
Yeah,
the next street over.
It's Rhode Island, you know.
And we had some. Go ahead. We had some great ones from Pawtucket over the years. You've had a couple. Isn't Sherm Strickhouse come from Pawtucket?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So I went to St. Leo the Great Grammar School.
Wow. I went to St. Mary's.
I graduated from St. Raphael.
I didn't
St.
want to
Ray's
hear
boy.
it. I didn't want to hear it. I got 9 years because back in the day, folks, it wasn't you go to the 8th grade and then the last 4 years
Right.
is high school. It was
Right.
9th grade. You went 9 years and then 3 years of high school.
Right.
And I said, I'll be damned if I'm going to get beaten up by brothers after getting beaten up by nuns for 9 years. I said, that's not happening.
Look at those
Right?
knuckles.
Yeah,
Look
you
at
put
those
your
knuckles.
hands.
Can you tell I was Christian brothers and
how
sisters
come-
of mercy? By
how
the way,
come-
think of that term, sisters of mercy. Anything but.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
a
I'm saying?
misconception.
But I learned a lot.
Yeah, that's like a oxymoron.
Yeah, it
Sisters
is.
of mercy,
Exactly.
because my God,
It's like jumbo shrimp.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or military intelligence.
Yes, I learned a lot.
They have no mercy. The Sisters of Mercy. My God, they used to, and everybody makes the same reference. Everybody makes the same reference
Sure,
when they
the
talk
knuckles.
about them. The knuckles. You hold your hands out,
Right.
and they'd whack you on the hand with the either the pointer or the ruler.
And
one
then
or
you
the
go
other.
home and you tell your parents, Sister Benjanice whacked me with the ruler today, and they look at it and say, well, you probably deserved it.
Or you
know,
get
if it
whacked
happened-
again.
Right. If it happened now, you'd own the school. That's how things have changed.
Right.
you know, but
Exactly.
it's just-
Exactly. In
hey,
fact, they just had an incident like that. It was on the news this morning. Something happened with a teacher or something.
Really?
Yeah.
probably happens every hour across the country now.
Right. And they wonder why we're so bad off as far as our school system, so terrible. And I always make reference to the fact that we rank 28th in math and 29th in science in the world. I mean, that's disgusting.
It's sad.
And
It's unacceptable. As well.
Finland ranks number 1 in both math and science. Number 1.
It's two things I've learned today.
We rank 28th and 29th. I mean, that's awful. It's absolutely
It's
awful.
unacceptable.
And people think that, they'll say to me all the time that, oh, well, the Asians are so smart, they're so much smarter. They're smart because they work hard at it. They try hard, and they spend a lot of time studying. You can't give a kid today homework. That's unacceptable. They don't want to hear it. A parent gets a kid comes home with homework, and the parent's screaming at the school.
Work ethic has changed dramatically for school kids and for people in the professional world. I mean, it's just not the way. It's completely different in my business than it was when I first got.
Oh, I'll bet it is. You're 35 years?
36.
36 years. I was giving you one. I was
Yeah.
taking one away, I should say.
Yeah, Blizzard of '78 was probably like my first big thing that I did.
I love that. It's terrible to say, but I had such a ball during the Blizzard of '78. I was helping the guys with from Buffalo that come down with the big
National
front end
Guard
loaders.
came in from Buffalo. Yeah.
Yep, and they had these 6-foot-high tires on the vehicles, and I had to show the guy around. Well, I showed him McGill Street first, and he cleaned McGill Street from curb to curb. My street was the first street in Pawtucket clean.
Like the monster truck jam for you.
Yeah. Oh, I had a ball. And then we get called. He gets called from the governor's office that they wanted a lane open on 95.
Right.
And if you remember, when you hit the Massachusetts line, it was
clean.
down to the ground,
It's
right?
clean, right.
Well, we didn't. What happened was the Rhode Islanders they didn't get the plows out in time, so they just all got bogged down. The highway was totally clogged, all lanes on 95. So here I am in this big rig with this guy from Buffalo, and we go on 95. He don't care. He don't know these people. He's driving over cars. He gets to an open spot. He gets down, picks up a car, flips it, picks up another car, flips it, picks up another car, flips it. And there were Audis and a Mercedes-Benz and Lexus and all these other cars. Well, they weren't Lexus out there. I don't even think they were out there.
Probably not. Yeah.
But all these cars,
Oh, sure.
good, bad, new, not new, just flipping them over, just throwing some of them throwing down in the ravines.
Yeah, you try to explain the experience of Blizzard of '78 to the people who didn't experience and didn't live it, and it's almost surreal in substance. People can't believe it. I was a kid. I was 23, and I was stuck on the air at that time,
Right.
WHIM, which was a country music station,
Wow.
and WHJY, which wasn't rock and roll yet, it was beautiful music. And two of us kept those radio stations on the air for 36 consecutive hours.
Wow, you didn't sleep at all.
Didn't sleep. We would just kind of rotate shifts and what have you. And
Just get up, have a coffee, get back on again.
You actually start to get a little goofy. You know,
Yeah.
where everything becomes, you get the, you know, the
Giddy.
church
Giddy,
giggles,
it's
the
called.
church giggles, you know,
Right,
where you're
right.
laughing at the wrong times, and it's like, oh, good. But yeah, 36 straight hours before any help came in for us. But it was what you did, and when you were 23 years old, you're not going to think second about something like that, you know?
Yeah.
You're not going to say, it's not in my contract that I don't work more than
Right,
8 hours
right,
a day, and
right.
The union will take care of it. No, you're a
it
kid.
didn't happen. That
You're
didn't
a kid,
happen
you
back
do you do what it takes to get the job done, then.
We got the old radio sled, and we put 4 10-gallon cans of oil on it, and we're going to houses that ran out of oil.
Oh, yeah.
To just give it to them.
Everybody was everybody's friend for a week, and then everything got back to
Yeah, and
everything
then they
got
all
back to
hated
the
you
way
after.
it is,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
We all
yeah.
started hating
yeah.
each other again.
Nobody
Yeah,
knew
it's
anybody,
crazy,
but
yeah.
after Blizzard, everybody knew their neighbor, everybody knew the person down the street.
So that was a very interesting experience.
Well,
in
if
terms
you're
of-
being from Pawtucket, you remember Sullivan's Bowling Alley on
Sure,
right at the
that was
Pawtucket
underground.
Providence
It was
line.
underground.
That's
It's right
exactly
near the
right.
old Sears building, which
Right.
has been abandoned forever, it
Right.
seems.
They finally
and of
took
course,
down-
the Greg's is right across the street
Right.
for folks who need a little geography lesson.
Right,
there.
which is still there.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were landing a military helicopter on top of that
Sullivan's.
roof,
Right. Yeah.
and they were shipping people up to Miriam Hospital. My
Wow.
buddy's wife was pregnant, having a baby. She went into labor the morning after the limit, the blizzard, when the
Right,
snow was all
right.
down. And she got to the hospital inside the cab of one of them front-end loaders. That's how they took her to the hospital.
pretty amazing
And you know how they
stuff.
took the husband to the hospital? Inside the bucket. Because he couldn't fit inside the cab with the guy.
And you know, back then television stations didn't have microwave capabilities just yet. Channel 10 was the only television station that was able to have a microwave facility, which essentially is a satellite, you know.
Right.
They were still using film back then in 1978. So that's what really catapulted Channel 10 ahead of everybody else at that particular time, because Jack Kavanaugh, who was the reporter, he
Sure.
got stuck in the State House with Governor Garrett.
Exactly,
And the
exactly.
truck got stuck in the snow, so that, you know, Channel 10, they do great work, but they lucked out in that
They
particular
sure did.
situation
They
because
sure
they got
did.
stuck there and they had live capabilities.
In fact,
so
I see when
pretty
they,
amazing.
when they show old footage, Kavanaugh's in a lot of the old footage.
sure.
Bald,
Oh, yeah.
Jack Kavanaugh, little Jack Kavanaugh.
He's a
Yeah.
good man, Jack. I worked with him for years.
So you went from,
Well,
you
but
started.
That's going to take another hour. if
all
you're gonna
right.
Do
Well,
that.
well, you started at HIM.
Yes.
Then you went to HJY.
HJJ and HJY, and I was on air, and I was the program director for
Okay.
both of those radio stations.
For how long?
1982 to 1988.
Okay.
And I created Frankenstein's Monster with HJJ. It was the number one talk station in the marketplace. So PRO and ABC hired me away to flip them
Right.
to News Talk, which I did. And
Which
then
is what were they before that?
the middle of the road music, believe it or not. They were still playing music on 6:30 a.m. in 1988 with Salty and Ed Cherubino.
Oh,
and,
that's
and,
right, of
and
course,
Larry
yeah,
Ice
yeah,
Cold
yeah.
Kruger and all those
yeah.
guys. And I was the guy that they hired from across the street to come in with have to put the black hat on and say, we're changing the format. And you know that was unheard of at those times and on that radio station. So, and then within a year we actually beat the other guys. So it all worked out just fine.
Actually, you beat your old station.
I did. Yeah.
You didn't want to say that the other guys.
And I'm out to beat him, and I'm out to beat him again now.
Yeah, now
too.
you're going the other
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
You flip back, right?
We're all mercenaries. What can I say? What can I
Because
say?
in fact, Ron is back at WHJJ.
Yeah, which is really great because it's where, you know, thank goodness they kept the light on for me like Motel 6. But it's great to be back, and I do the morning show over there 6 to 10. Wonderful people, great group of individuals, and I'm really happy to be over there. I spent 22 years total at PRO on
Wow.
two different lives.
And you're going to be embarrassed when I say this to you. You made a lot of people.
Yeah, you know, I think in anybody's career over 36 years, you're going to have wins and you're going to have losses. And you know, but you talk about some of the people that I hired. And,
Yeah.
Some people I gave their first starts to.
Right.
Yeah.
Like?
A lot of them are in the Hall of Fame. Marion Sorrentino.
Right.
Really good talk show
Now,
host.
remember her. Some people might not remember her.
Really good talk show host. Steve McDonald, who's Jim Shorts on
Jim
Sports
Shorts.
on HJY.
Now, he's from Pawtucket.
Maybe
I
I'm not
believe
sure.
he's from Pawtucket,
Matt
yeah.
Allen, who does the night show on WPRO. I actually put Matt Allen and Jen Brian together for the first time. And
On the
Jen,
Saturday show.
And Jen and I have been on your Mental Floss was what it was
And
called.
I had them on my show when they started
Yeah,
that
and
show.
Jen and I have been on your show together. In fact, that was the last time I was on. A couple 3 years ago, and Jen's done work at WBZ, WRKO.
Been in Boston, yeah.
And she's going to be filling in for me on HJJ when I take a little vacation. So that's good. It's good. But there's Jeff Charles. I hired him away from West Palm Beach.
Jeff Charles.
He's another Hall of Famer. Oh, and a little guy. Let me see. One name is.
I think he's kind of got a. He had some kind of thing on his head for a while.
Buddy Cianci.
Buddy Cianci.
Yeah. I gave Buddy his first radio show back on WHJJ when he had to resign his office, 1984.
Now you gave him his shot before he went to jail, didn't you? Didn't he work before he went to jail for a short time?
Let me see. It was after the first felony, and it was before he went to jail.
Right. Before he got sentenced, but he didn't go to jail yet, or something like that. Or he's still going to trial or something.
Right.
And he ended up on the radio
for a while, for a week
until,
before he was sentenced.
Right.
And then he went to Fort Dix for his vacation at the gated community. And he and I were having dialogue because I went to see him multiple times when he was in prison.
Like 10 times?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, it's a long trip. And
we
had a lot of dialogue.
Jersey, right?
Fort Dix is New Jersey.
Yeah, we're in New Jersey. Way out New Jersey. Yeah.
So it's about 5 hours, 5.5 hours to drive there. But, we had great conversations. We exchanged letters over the years, too. And it was always about, okay, when you get out, do you want to do radio again? So we wound up actually working together at PRO. We did afternoons together for about 5 years.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're going to get into that a little more, but I got to introduce my
Sounds good to me.
My singing guest over here. Where's Dominic? Is Dominic around? Did he leave? Where's Dominic? We got Ron here. I know Ron's here. How you doing, Ron?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you feeling?
Good. Well, I'm coming along. I don't know. I'm in limbo right now. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to get a knee, or waiting for a chance to get a knee.
Yeah.
Dominic, here he is. Here's Dominic.
I was in the book out.
Come on over here. Come on over here. Dominic DiPasquale. How you doing? I'm sorry I can't get up.
I'm doing better than I deserve.
Yeah?
I'm gonna say, yes.
I thought you were going to say you're doing better than me. You
No,
are doing better than
no,
me. No, you are doing better than me. You're standing. You're walking. Well, Dominic, now you got a few activities coming up here. Dominic, what you want to tell the story? Want to tell the story of you were in here to see me last week,
Yes.
and what happened?
Let me put this on. Yes.
He came in here to visit me last week, and we're walking by the nurse's station. It was about 10 o'clock. Usually you're late. About 10, they bought me a nice Italian grinder.
What else? I was gonna do the sausage and peppers, but
Now the grinder,
find
the
it. The
grinder
grinder
works.
was
The
good.
grinder
Yes.
works. Or sub, whatever they want to call
Yes.
them nowadays, right?
yes.
Now we're walking by the nurse's station, and all of a sudden the nurse goes, Dominic DiPasquale.
Story of my life.
Yeah. And you did her wedding many years ago.
I didn't marry her. That's one of the few I didn't marry. But yes, I did a wedding at the Chateau de Ville.
Oh my God, in Warwick.
36 years ago. I was 10. But I was a hell of a singer at 10 years old.
That's right, that's right.
36 years ago at the Chateau de Ville. I had one other time, a woman says, you did my wedding 34 years ago.
Wow.
What was I, wedding crazy back then? I don't know. It was
Wow.
like I was
Well,
doing wedding.
it's
But with the
ama-
big show band, we were doing weddings.
Right, right. That's amazing. You've been around and you've
tell me.
achieved, and you've done so much stuff. What do you got coming up? I know you got the 4th of
We have
July.
some nice things coming up. We have some really nice things coming up. 4th of July. When does this air, Bob?
Well, we're not going to make it for the 4th.
Well,
but
all right. I did a hell of a
well,
job on the 4th of July. And standing ovation for 4,000 people. Just
Yeah.
want to tell you.
Yeah.
I got bouquets of flowers. I sold 5,000 CDs. And I retired to Florida.
There you go. All right.
Besides that,
All right. Well, what else? What else?
all right, no, we have the 19th
That-
of July
okay.
is something very special to me because it's going to speak of my heritage. We're going to do all the Italian songs of Italian singers from Pavarotti to Jerry Vale. Not that Jerry Vale is the low end of it, but Pavarotti all the way
Right,
down,
right.
many of the Italian songs and more. And it's produced by Knobs and Knockers, which is a subdivision of Opera Providence.
Uh-huh.
And when will we're going to get Bob to explain a little bit of it.
All right,
Dr.
yeah, a
Robio.
little, go
We'll
ahead.
get him to explain it a little better than I. But there's going to be an opera before, Rigoletto, and then we're doing the Saturday night show, and then there's going to be an opera the day after. There's a matinee. to La Traviata.
All right, now,
And then we're there with Ron Murray, obviously my musical director, and a lot of great musicians. And then on the 30th of July, I'm going to do the middle of Garden City.
nice.
Yes, I don't know
That's
if they
always
know I'm
fun.
going to be. No, they know I'm going to be there. I'm just going to sing in the middle of Garden City. But
All right, well, sing
gonna do
for
that.
us now.
okay, why not? Let's do the Chilla Boy.
Murray, I might add, right?
Dici d'un cielo sta campagna vostra, hai già perduto sonno ma fantasia, che pensa sempre sia tutta vita mia. Non c'è vuole satiscere e non mi so di. Just say I love her. I've loved her from the start. And tell her that I'm yearning to say what's in my heart. Just say I need her as roses need the rain. Tell her that without her my dreams are all in vain. I voglio bene assai. Dici non ce le voglio e non mai scordo mai. E una passione più forte una catena, a merda l'anima e non che fa gambare. If there's a chance to see her anytime, any place, anywhere, say I was a fool to ever leave her, and tell her how much a fool can bear. I voglio bene, I voglio bene assai. Just say I love her e non che fa cambare. Thank you. Thank you.
With Ron Murray. Nice guitar work there.
Beautiful.
Nice job. We'll have you back in a minute again, huh?
Okay.
Hang
Sounds
around.
good to me.
Hang around. You'll
Thank
come
you.
back in a couple of minutes. I gotta talk to my man. Did you know that Ron St. Pierre is in the Radio Hall of Fame in Rhode Island?
Yes, I do.
You did know
Because
that,
he's
huh?
my Facebook friend. He don't know it because he must have thousands of them.
Yeah.
But I've always been a fan.
Well, thank you.
Always been a fan.
Appreciate that.
And I mean that. This is not a blowing smoke at you.
Thank you.
Always been a fan. Always listened.
And one of only two programmers, general managers, right?
One of
With
two-
ABC.
Yeah, one of only two programmers that ABC ever promoted to the position of general manager over the years. That's a while.
That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a nice accomplishment. You know, because normally general managers in radio and television, they come more from the sales background than they do from programming. So
Right.
It was nice. It was sweet.
Now, you mentioned a couple people, but you didn't mention a couple of people you elevated.
Gave their first
first
crack. Yeah,
crack,
I couldn't, I couldn't
Andy
remember.
Gresh was one of them that
Yeah,
comes to mind.
yeah,
I had
Andy
my
Gresh,
notes.
yeah.
I checked my notes. I said, wait a minute, I know Andy Gresh. Who's he with now?
Gresh is with the Sports Hub in Boston, 98.5, but he does
was
the Patriots pre and post games now. on the
Right,
Patriots
yeah, he's
Radio
pretty big
Network.
now, yeah.
Oh yeah, he can buy me 6 times over now, probably. But, but he
Isn't that
came to
awful?
me. He came to me. He was actually running the radio board. He's like a technician overnight. And when I came back from I was at WABC in New York when I came back to reprogram PRO and flipped the 790 frequency to the first sports station in
Right.
the marketplace, The Score, which was a
Score.
great experience because that was a Genesis project. You take something from nothing and
That's
just
right.
make it.
That's like your baby.
Yeah,
When you have
it was
something
great.
that wasn't
It was
there.
great. So
nothing-
he came to me and just handed me a cassette and said, boy, I would really love to. The rumor is we're going to have a sports station. I'd love to have the opportunity. Wound up doing mornings and then just kept moving up and up and up. And now there he is, big star in Boston, top 10 market in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mike Gonzalez, too, Dr. Metal.
Now, he's the one that died.
Dr. Metal,
He died in the West Fork.
He died in the station nightclub fire, yeah. And he's in the Radio Hall of Fame also. And he was an intern of mine on HJY when it was rock and roll, when I was programming that station in 1987.
Wow.
So, and then he became, he adopted the persona of Dr. Metal, and he
Right.
hosted a heavy metal show on HJY for years.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Two very
when
nice,
he passed. Yeah.
nice quality people, both those guys. Yeah.
And speaking of quality people, how about Salty Brine?
Salty was the best. Now,
I can't ask you this question because I know you'll know the answer, but I can't even ask Ron that. No, Ron might not know that. You're not from Rhode Island, are you?
No, but I know Salty. I've worked
You know
with him
Salty,
many
Brian?
times, yeah.
All right. Do you remember his dog?
Oh, God, of course.
No, I know you know.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right.
Anybody remember his dog's name?
Sure.
Jeff. Had a collie named Jeff. And when he had his TV show, too, Salty Shack, Jeff was a big part. Jeff was a big part of that.
He come on the show one night. It's one of the best shows we ever did. John will attest to this, and we're all teary-eyed. He come on. Tony Petrarca was my other guest. We had the couch at the time, and he said to me, he goes, "There's something I always wanted to do all these years." This was when, in fact, his wife died a month or two after the show, sadly, and she was in the audience. They would never go anywhere.
No, they were inseparable.
Yeah. And he's sitting there and he says, "Bob, do you mind if I do something I've never done before, always wanted to do?" And I go, "Hey, you're Salty Brine.
Right.
You can do anything you want." He go, and we were live at the time. We were live.
Yeah.
And unlike radio, there's no delay. It's you're on. Although I wasn't afraid of what he would do. He gets up, and he didn't get up. He picked his leg off. A lot of people didn't know. Many people knew he had a prosthesis. But
Right.
most people didn't know how he had the prosthesis, but many people didn't even know he had a prosthesis. He takes his leg off, he puts it right on my desk, with the shoe on and everything.
Well, I saw that many times, believe me.
So he says to me, I said, and I looked at him, I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I always wanted to do that." He says, "Because so many people didn't know I had a prosthesis, and they certainly didn't know how I had,
Oh, yeah.
and they also didn't know what I've gone through from having it." He says, "It happened when I was 11 years old. Do you
Yeah.
remember how he got it?"
Train tracks.
Train tracks. You jump in trains, which I did as a kid. I used to do that as a kid.
Yeah.
The train tracks are right near our house
Sure.
over there, off
I
of
played-
Western Avenue.
I played on the train tracks all the time when I was a kid, yeah.
The trains would come by, the cargo trains, right? And they'd come by, and they're only going 10 miles an hour. You run up to them, grab the rail there, and hop on the train, go for a little ride, jump off a mile, 2-3 miles down the road. One of my friends got on the train. Train sped up so much he couldn't get off. He ended up in Chicago.
Have you spoken to him since? But Salty lost his leg playing on the tracks.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So he lost his leg, and at 11 years old, and we're talking about back in the 30s, maybe 40s.
Probably, yeah. Probably 30s.
30s.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
kids being
even
as
earlier.
Yeah, kids being as kids are, they're kind of crude and tough on somebody that has
Handicap.
a problem, right? And on top of that, because it was back in those days, they didn't have the prosthesis that
Sure.
they have today, and all they had was a broomstick, virtual broomstick with a piece of leather, and he would strap it on the bottom of his leg, and he said he would go home from school and it would be all bloody and everything because it would dig it into his leg. But even worse, he said what was worse than that was the attitude of the kids. They used to call him peg leg, and they used to pick on him all the time.
Very cruel, very cruel.
So he's telling me that, and the tears are pouring down his face. He said, that has bothered me all my life. He's telling us this.
Yeah. But he used that challenge, too, to help educate people and make them feel better about whatever challenges they had physically that they had in their life. And he, you hear all the stories about Salty visiting hospitals and working with kids and what have you. They're all true. They're all true. And he never wanted any recognition for that, at all. And that's just the kind of a guy he was. He was genuinely a very, very nice man.
He was a good guy. Yeah. He was a good guy. I used to run into him down in Jolly O's. He used to hang out at Jolly O's. He loved Jolly O's.
They have a seat named for him.
Yeah,
there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
he's just a wonderful person. He was so much fun to work with, and even more so, very happy that he and I became very, very close friends, which was great. So, and that's rare. When you're somebody's boss.
Right.
But no one was Salty's boss, let's face it. I think the first time I saw Salty when I first switched stations, I saw him and he started laughing when he saw me in the hall. And I said, I just want you to know that starting tomorrow, things are going to change. And and he looked at me and he said, what are you talking about? I said, I'll be getting your coffee for you, not the other person.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm like, you're Salty.
He's thinking something else.
What am I going to tell you that you don't already know about the business?
Exactly.
So I learned as much from him, I think, just being his manager, just being around him and watching he was a very, very dedicated professional broadcaster. Yeah, he really was.
Now, when you say, we talked about a little bit about Buddy Cianci came for a week, left, and you went down to see him all those times, to make sure he come back to.
No, not necessarily. No. I don't want that to be. I don't want that you to think that. No, was that part of our conversation? Sure. I mean, because he's in prison for 4.5 years. He wants to look forward to something when he gets out.
Right.
And he was very successful on the radio for years and years and years. So.
Right. Before that.
Yeah, when we had him, when I put him on HJJ in
1984, I remember when he
was tremendously successful.
Right.
So he knew how to do it. And the thing about, he's just an interesting guy. He's an interesting guy to put on.
He's two guys.
Yeah,
Buddy Cianci's two people.
Well, I think you're probably correct about that.
Yeah.
But as a radio talent, he's just a very interesting guy. He's an engaging person to have on the radio. So it worked before. There's no reason it wouldn't have worked again. But I just kind of kept that thought in his head, I guess. And we were, Buddy and I have been very lucky to have benefited from each other professionally over the years. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
But when he come back and he got on the radio, I thought it was going to be a show with you two guys, and it ended up, it was like he kind of.
Yeah, I became Buddy Cianci. I was Buddy Spackle, I think is the best way to.
Yeah. It's color, man.
You got to kind of know your role. I mean, I took over the Salty Brine show for 7 years. I was the morning host for 7 years.
Right.
After Steve Cass hosted it for a while.
Right.
But I did 7 years doing morning drive. So, I mean, I've done shows by myself, but prior to that, I was really a second banana kind of a on-air person. I would be part of a team. I worked with Carolyn Fox on her team.
Sure.
I worked with Sherm Strickhauser on his team in the morning. So I was really, I'm not going to say second banana, 'cause that makes you feel like Bud Abbott, and I'm sure even Bud Abbott got tired of being Bud Abbott to Lou Costello, But no, it was Buddy and I, we had a nice successful run together, But, what Bob Seger say, the trick is never to play the game too long, right? So, things change and you move on to your next challenge.
Now he's got a new challenge now. Decided to run. Did you think he was going to do it?
I spoke to him 2 days before the announcement, and he still was. I haven't decided yet, and I didn't know whether or not I believed him or not. But I was 50-50. I wouldn't have been surprised had he said no, and I wouldn't have been surprised if he ran. So
I was 75-25 because I actually wore a button. Guys, a couple times I wore his button. Cianci for mayor, and I even have a Cianci ball that I had put on my desk on one show.
So I was 50-50, and I know him pretty well. And I was just, he could do it, maybe he doesn't. He's not going to do it. I think the fact that, the way this field is playing out, I think the fact that he's got himself in the type of Buddy Cianci race that he's always fared extremely well with
multiple players.
He's got, he's an independent. There's another independent in the race. You got a Democratic primary coming up among three candidates where they're going to beat the bejesus out of each other, and there's a Republican candidate. So you're guaranteed 4 are going to get to the general election. And Buddy doesn't have to go through a primary, so he saves all that scarol,
Right.
as he likes to say. You know, he doesn't have to debate anybody until the general. So he's in, and Buddy's not a 50% guy anymore. He's
No,
not.
no,
Buddy is
no,
not
he's a
a 50%.
35%
He's
guy.
about a 35, 37%. He's chafy.
That was exactly what I was going to say. He's a chafy now.
Yeah, he's chafy.
He can win with 35% of the vote.
Maybe.
He couldn't win with 50%.
Anywhere, I say anywhere between 35 and 38, 39%.
Right,
That's
that's what he needs,
That's
I mean.
where he's got to get.
That's what he's going to get.
We'll see what happens.
And it's ironic we talk about this because 3 or 4 weeks ago I had discussed that with just a couple of people, because I ran for lieutenant governor
Yes.
several years ago because they were trying to abolish the office.
Right,
and
Bob Healy.
And I didn't think that office should be abolished. I just thought it should be retooled and made into something that was workable.
Yeah.
Because the EDC I thought was a joke. There's so many people on the EDC at the time that it's not an EDC. They changed the name now, but it's the
They
same.
got us into that wonderful deal. How can you call it?
Yeah, they got us into. And by the way, I was against that when I ran for office in that race. I was totally against that 38 studios. Totally against it. I says rather than give 75 million to one guy, how about giving 75,000 to 100 guys, right?
Yeah.
100 guys, women, whatever, 100 business people. You got a better shot. Everybody tells you,
But
you
you
diversify.
should know that makes no sense in the state of Rhode Island.
Yeah.
You know? Let's give 75 million to one guy.
So I end up coming out against it. We have a debate on a Sunday. Wednesday, it's on TV. Channel 10 ran it, and Bill Rapley standing in front of the green screen.
Mm-hmm.
The green screen's projecting video of the debate we had 3 days earlier. And you see the three of us in the debate. And in the debate, I kind of put Rapley on the spot by saying to him, Rapley, because he works at the State House all the day, every
He's the
day.
political reporter for Channel 10.
And he's at the State House all the time.
Right.
So I said, Bill, tell me something. You know better than anybody. I worked at the State House as a kid out of college. My degree's in politics. I said, I've been involved in politics all my life. I said, but you're working at the State House now. You know who runs the state. It's the Speaker of the House. I said, a guy that got elected with only 4,900 votes
Right.
has more power than the governor who gets elected with 140,000 votes. I said, does that even make sense? And he kind of shrugged it off, blew it off. Well, don't you know, 3 days later, he got me back. He puts on the screen, it was the lead story on the 6 o'clock news. The lieutenant governor's races turning out to be a dogfight or a barn burn or whatever. And he shows Roberts, 35%. Healy, 23%. So what are you thinking? If you're me, what are you thinking? He just got done saying it's a barn burner or it's a close race.
Right.
35 for Roberts, 23 for Healy. So where's Bob Venturini?
Where did you wind up? You
Got to
tell
be in
me.
the 30s, right? Somewhere in the 30s if it's a barn burner, because it ain't 23 to 35.
That's no bond burner.
That's no barn burner.
No.
They put 42% undecided. They put a silhouette. Don't even mention me at all. You can see me on the screen, so I call right after the 6 o'clock news, and they tell me, oh, we'll fix it, we'll straighten it out. Sorry about that, Bob. The 11 o'clock news, the only change they made, he did exactly the same broadcast. The only change was they blocked me out in the background. They blackened me out.
You shouldn't have called it to their attention. You would have remained in the shot.
So don't you think that was a Wednesday? The following Monday, a former TV show personality comes to my show just before we go on the air, and he shows me a newspaper clipping from the Providence Journal. The EDC hires a new member for $95,000 a year plus the benefit package,
Right.
which amounts to about $25,000, and they don't do much, or they didn't do much, except the 38 studios. And it was a woman. Her name was Judy Chung. Right?
Yeah.
And so I said to the person who was showing it to me, I said, what is that? It doesn't mean nothing to me. Judy Chung is Bill Rapley's wife.
That's right.
So that was a coincidence.
I
That was a great coincidence, wasn't it? Well, anyway, I happened to run at the very, very wrong time. First of all, I ran as an independent, and I ran when the independents got killed that year. By the way, I spent less than $5,000 and got 21,000 votes. Block ran for governor in the same election
As a moderate.
As a moderate. He got 22,000 votes, 1,600 more votes than I did, and he spent over $500,000. So I'm figuring with this race, for the lieutenant governor.
Yep.
I said, I'm going to get in this race as an independent because I figured the Democrats got to pound each other. You got 2 or 3 Democrats, you got 2 Republicans, and I sit back, I bypass the primary,
Right.
being an independent.
Right.
So I asked somebody to go file for me because I'm stuck here, I can't walk. Plus, I'd give me time to recover, right?
Yeah.
He goes down to file, and they said he couldn't file for me without him coming to me and getting it notarized and all this stuff. So I'd given him papers, and he ended up filing. I left it blank at the top. He ended up filing me for a state representative of my district as an independent. So I'm a state representative of my district.
Congratulations.
Hey, by the way, which isn't bad at all, not too bad, I shouldn't say, because they try to pull a coup there. My councilman, they snuck him in at the last minute. The state rep, O'Neill, who wanted to be Speaker of the
What
House.
district are you in? What district is this?
Pawtucket-Woodlawn.
Okay.
59.
Okay.
Last minute, he had said the day of or the day before that he was still running. Last minute, he drops out, and my councilman moves up to the seat. So he was going to walk in, essentially, but now he's not going to walk in.
Now there's a challenge.
Now he's got a real challenge. Anyway, back to you.
Interesting. Yeah.
Now, where do you live now? What city?
East Greenwich.
Oh, in East Greenwich.
Yeah.
Boy, I lived in East Greenwich for 5 years. Great
Came
town.
back from,
Great
I
town.
was programming at in the programming department at WABC in New York after spending 2 years in South Florida. And my wife was the national sales manager at Channel 12 and Fox 64. We kind of decided it was kind of time to come back here, and I got an offer. I got an offer to come back to pro. So we've been living in East Greenwich for about 17, 18 years now.
Nice town.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, absolutely beautiful.
It's a great
Until the
town.
tax bill comes in, and
Hey,
then your gums start to bleed.
but you
Ugh.
kind of get what you pay for, except if you have a dog and it gets loose.
Well, I have no children, and we live in the second best school district in the state of Rhode Island.
right.
And they won't let me send my dog for an education, so I'm happy to contribute to the education of the youth of Rhode Island.
All right. I'm glad you stopped by and seen us.
It's good to see you.
It's about time I
Thanks
get you
for
back.
having me.
I know it's hard for you in the morning, being on in the morning.
Yeah,
and
it's
everything.
tough. It's
So
a little,
to
it's
have
a little
you
crazy.
Try to come in at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and you don't get out till 9, 9:30. I know you're up most of the time. Anyway,
This worked out great.
I just got to ask you one more thing.
Whatever
about
you need.
sports.
Yes, sir.
Couple things, 2 things actually. The soccer. What do you think of the American soccer? Were you into that at all?
If the World Cup was playing in my backyard, I would have drawn the drapes. So, to say the least, I'm just not
But
into
I
it.
do know
I'm
what
not
you do
into,
like.
I'm not into soccer
I
at all.
do know what you do like.
What's that?
Baseball.
I love baseball, yeah.
And
I'm
I
a
love
huge
baseball.
fan.
I'm a baseball fan. I'm a Red Sox fan. And I'm an Oriole fan, really, and a Red Sox fan when the Orioles are playing the Red Sox. It's the only
Okay.
time I root for the Red Sox.
All right.
I root against the Orioles, I should say.
Okay.
I've always been an Oriole fan since the 50s, early 60s, I
Yeah.
guess. Some of the great teams that they've had.
Sure,
The
absolutely.
lowest scoring World Series of all time,
1969?
66.
66. Dodgers.
Played the Dodgers. They beat Koufax.
Koufax and Drysdale.
Drysdale spanked them. I think the Dodgers they beat them, swept them 4 games. I think they only scored 4 runs in the whole series.
Palmer a rookie that year? Or is that
Palmer
second
was
year?
a rookie.
Okay.
He might have been a rookie. He might have been a second year. No, I think he was a rookie. There's Palmer, Cuellar, McNally, and
Phoebus.
Phoebus or Dotson. It might have been
Dotson.
Phoebus.
Dobson came
And they're the
later.
only team that ever had 4 20-game
20-game
winners
winners.
on the same team at the same time, right?
Yes, 1969.
And you know I do the Toys for Tots every year.
Yes.
At the Warwick
Yeah.
Mall, we did 20 years. In fact, our next guest is going to be talking about that a little bit, as Dominic and Ron can attest to also. That was 1 year I had a guy that used to work for Franklin Sports. And Franklin Sports, they make the gloves and the
Oh, sure.
bats and
All kinds of equipment.
all kinds of stuff. And the guy came to the event with a glove for me, a real major league catcher's mitt.
Nice.
Although I was never a catcher, but a catcher's mitt, because it was signed by Rick Dempsey, who was the MVP of the World Series. I think it was '83.
Yep.
He was the MVP of the World Series, signed to me, and congratulations on what you do, blah, blah, blah.
That's great.
The biggest Oriole fan in Rhode Island.
Outstanding.
That was pretty cool, and I still have that glove.
He's a great
today.
good player, too.
Yeah,
Good player.
great player.
Yeah.
All right, thanks again.
My pleasure. Good to be
Ron,
here.
you're on in the morning.
6 to 10.
6 to 10.
9:20 WHJJ. In fact, I
9:20.
think I get up in about 2 hours. But
Wow.
No, I'm
6 to
kidding.
10. All right,
just feels like it.
Dominic, give us a song. Take us to the break here.
Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame, bésame mucho, y tengo quiero perderte después. This joy is something new, my arms are holding you. Never knew this world before. Whoever thought I'd be holding you close to me, whispering that you I adore. Darling, if you should leave me, this little dream would take wing, my life would be true. Bésame, bésame mucho. I will love you forever. You'll make all those dreams come true. Love you forever. You'll make my dreams come true. Love you forever. You'll make all my dreams come true. We have a wonderful time. We have a lot of fun. And we eat well, too. We eat well. We do. Well, not last year was the mezza the food week.
We got to make sure this next year, tell everybody, all the restaurants out there, they want to donate.
I think they should be donating. How many restaurants do we have in Rhode Island? They should be donating some food for Bob and me.
Toys for Tots.
Toys for Tots. What was it? What was the date on it?
It'll be the second Tuesday of December.
Second Tuesday of the. I'm repeating what he said.
Now, by the way, this
5 to
year,
9.
this year is definitely going to be live on cable. We've got a commitment already. I offered to
Is it about time that you're live?
back to live. Yes.
You
No, I
have
got a
to be.
commitment. I offered to pay for the whole thing out of pocket. No, they finally, I guess, maybe what we said at the last one, I kind of trashed them a little bit.
Well, yeah, you sometimes do that, Bob. You do speak your mind. I mean, you know that's.
Comes out, I don't use
You know what? Nothing.
I don't use cue cards. I say what's
I'm telling you, nothing. Nothing. I don't know anybody who's traveled as much as you in my life. All right? I mean, I went to the Falls last week.
Did you?
Central Falls, yes. I mean, we knew that. I went
Have to go too far to see beauty right in this state.
to Bella, mo.
Huh?
Bella.
Bella?
Bella.
Bella.
Yeah.
Mrs.
Mrs. Rhode Island. Mrs. Rhode Island.
2000, sadly, Mrs. Rhode Island, 2000. Sadly for me,
Why?
and maybe you.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Sadly for all guys, I guess.
Except for Tony Paliotta, my husband.
Tony!
Tony, maneggia to Tony.
He's my idol. He's my
Dogs
idol.
don't talk to Tony. He's a talker to me.
Hey, I gotta tell you, Ron, you got a kick out of this. He's on my show. He's not on the air, but he's sitting there, and I said to him, "Oh, Italians." I said to her actually. I said, "You know how Italians got the name Tony? Where the name Tony come from?" And I could not believe he didn't know the joke. Italians, they came over here from Italy, and I can say this because I'm Italian. Italians got the name. They stamped their foreheads to New York, so that's how so many Italians got their name. He had never heard that before.
I came on a good day. This is Italian music,
Yeah,
a lot of
Italian,
Italian
you know.
heritage we're talking about. My father's from Pawtucket, so when you guys were
Is your father's from Pawtucket?
he was a jockey. He raced on
Oh, that's
Narragansett
right. We talked about. I'm
Parkway.
sorry. And you
And
just passed too. Your father.
My father just passed. Thank you. But
This past year, he just
yes,
passed.
and he had a lot. Yes, he did. Thank you. But
He was a
he had a
great
lot.
guy. I
Of,
lost myself for a second. I forgot. We talked. Me and your father talked about. Because I worked at the track as a kid.
yep.
You remember Narragansett racetrack?
And my
was a jockey.
That was
was
a.
a
Look how tall you are.
I know, my mom is very tall. But the funny thing is going back to heritage in Rhode Island, when he got his first job was at General Motors, and you couldn't be Italian, so he had to
You
drop.
couldn't be Italian.
He had to drop the I on our last name from Barrett
Wow.
to Barrett. He couldn't be Italian.
So the
that-
prejudices don't.
I'm a minority. We're a minority.
Yeah,
So, you know,
I guess
it
so.
lives on. But I'm now representing Rhode Island. I'm taking the Italian heritage all the way to Las Vegas.
You are. When are you going to Vegas?
July 20th through the 25th. So the 25th, you'll see me compete live for the crown.
Wow, and you're beautiful.
Thank you.
And by the way, so is your daughter.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your daughter, I see her just recently in several pictures. She looks just like you.
Yes, she's amazing. So.
But it's amazing that, when did we first meet? When did we
Oh my God!
first meet?
You know, we've been with Lynn, and
Back
we've been
and
doing
forth,
yeah,
we've
back
done
and
all
forth. We've
these
been doing
events.
charity work, and the Toys for Tots. I was there. We were there for that whole. It was amazing.
And by the way, I
Tony-
got to thank you for the flowers again. Yeah,
Oh,
both years, both of Mrs. Rhode Island and Mrs. Massachusetts sent me this beautiful bouquet of flowers. Usually the guy sends the woman the flowers. They both sent me bouquets of flowers
That's right.
in a nice vase.
Yep.
And-
And my
and-
husband provided.
I was
the
just going to say
trucks.
that. Toys for Tots this past year, Ron, we had a problem because the Marines were shorthanded because of that whole thing, the closing the government down and everything. So I'm saying, where the heck am I going to get trucks for the Toys for Tots? Because we, as you know, right, we get significant amount of toys, tractor trailer load. And we didn't have anything. We didn't have a truck. Not only did we have a truck for that night, we didn't have a storage to keep them until the next day because they couldn't take them that night because we didn't get out of there at 11 o'clock. So we had to store them overnight. Well, her husband stepped up and said, what do you need? What do you got, 21 trucks or something? He says,
Yeah, he's
you can
got
have any or all you want. What do you want?
He built the walls at Goddard Park. He built the Castle Hill. He built a majority of the new landscape that's there. So we're really ingrained in Rhode Island. We love.
What's
love
the name?
our
What's the
state.
name of the
GP Masonry and Sunset Landscaping.
Right, because there's two
Yeah.
companies, right?
Yep.
GP Landscaping and Sunset.
GP Masonry and
Masonry,
Sunset
yeah.
Landscaping.
Yeah, what a great guy. I mean, he just spurted out. He goes, "What do you need? What do you need? Just a typical Italian. What do you need? I got
Yeah,
it."
he's a behind the scenes
No,
guy.
that's in a very good vein. I mean, well, you're a Frenchman. I'm an Italian.
I got the wrong vowel on the end of my name.
Yeah. No, well, Ron, no, I am part French. I have to concede that my mother was French. My father's all Italian, but my mother was half French and half Irish. That's why I get the Irish look. But I'm Italian for the most part. But I do have to sometimes concede that I'm a little bit of French. I grew up in a French area, by the way, Woodlawn, as you remember. That was St. Jean the Baptist Church was over there. I mean, that was big when I grew up, and they had the school there for girls.
Wow.
You should get a lot of dates out of that.
That,
Anyway, when are you going to Vegas?
so I'm leaving the 18th, and I'll be there until the 25th. So we'll of July.
July.
Yes, so it's coming up quick. But
And
you know,
before
something
that,
else is
that's
coming
right,
up.
that's right. Coming up, was it the 13th?
I don't know if he should be here. He's going to talk about me on the radio when he finds out.
Depends on what you're going to tell me.
Well, wait a minute. We had a sign, Corey, John, my director, Corey, my lead cameraman and director.
Yeah.
We all had to sign these non-disclosure agreements because
I'm on a new TV show on Bravo.
on Bravo.
Called Game of Crowns, and it's with Mrs. America. Six of us pageant
I think
title
I got it.
holders.
See if I can find it. Go ahead,
And,
keep talking.
And it's it's pretty big for Rhode Island. We just met with the Providence Journal, and this is the first big reality show that's based here in Rhode Island.
Based out of Rhode Island,
Yeah,
yes,
so
yes.
July 13th is the premiere episode. We're having a big party at the Crown Plaza. So
Now that's on the 13th?
the 13th is the premiere episode
Well,
on national television.
without a
also.
knee, I'm going to show up.
You better come down to the
Corey's
Crown Plaza.
going to have to push me in a wheelchair.
That's okay. We'll put you in the
Well,
back
so-
of one of Tony's trucks.
There you
and we'll
go.
bring
There you
down.
go. Somebody's going to have to push me in a wheelchair.
So we're really excited, and we filmed at a lot of local Rhode Island
Corey,
landmarks.
get this. We in Game of Crowns.
We filmed at a lot of local Rhode Island landmarks, including historical Federal Hill, which we love, and we filmed down your way and
Where else did
near
you
the
film?
beach. Newport. We filmed here at the Bob Show as well.
We
so
did a
yeah.
show, and I thought for sure that they were going to say, going to use my studio, and somebody was going to, they had these big shots from California and New York, and I thought they brought in all kinds of equipment and stuff, and I thought for sure they were going to like push me aside and use the set or whatever. And they said, no, you interviewed them.
I think Andy Cohen's going to love you. I think he's just going to love your segment because it was a great segment. So
Yeah.
we'll see. It's coming up.
And I'll tell you, I see the you gotta catch the clips of it, the what do they call them,
The previews,
previews
the trailers.
of-
Yeah.
what are they?
Teasers.
The teasers, trailers. That's the term I was thinking of. The trailers. I see Lynn crying though. My girl Lynn crying. I don't like that. Is that mine? Is it set? No, you couldn't get it.
Put it in afterwards.
Oh, all right. You put it in after. It's called the
Game of Crowns.
Game of Crowns.
On Bravo TV. Start 9 o'clock every Sunday nights, right after the Housewives of New Jersey.
Oh God. Now the first airing is on the 13th. Is
Yes,
it?
that's the
first
premiere
airing.
episode.
Now, what episode are we in? 2? I think it's second one.
I believe you're in 1 or 2.
Oh, it could be 1. We could be in 1. We could be in number 1 episode. How cool is that?
We could
Oh
be.
my God.
So, yeah.
That would be so cool.
That would be.
The
It's
first episode.
It's really amazing.
And there's 6 women. You want to see them go at it? You got to check it out. Wait, you got to check it. The trailer. You want to
Well,
see them
there's some
battling.
positive too.
Oh no! I mean, good and bad. Good and bad. I can see you guys. It's like a cat fight sometimes. Really it is. Well, that's what they like.
Listen,
That's what
reality
they like.
TV is mindless television.
Right,
It's something that you're supposed to watch and not really invest much emotional stake in, because I will tell you, in reality TV, a lot goes into it. You film for so many hours.
Absolutely.
And you can't always be smiling for 15 hours.
Exactly. And they pick out the stuff that's
Absolutely.
the toughest part. You know.
With that said, though, it is reality TV, so you have to tune in and see.
So there's 6 of you that are like
Yes,
the
Mrs.
stars.
Mrs. America is on
Right.
the show. And Mrs. Rhode Island, Mrs. Massachusetts,
And who's the other girl that's with you guys? Mrs. Connecticut?
Mrs. Connecticut, yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. So yeah,
Wow.
it's gonna be fun.
I'm going to be there. You got to take me down there, Cor?
I guess so. You said it on television.
I said it on TV. Corey's got to do it. Corey's got to do it. We're going on TV.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
That would be cool.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So I hope everyone watches the show and sees the Rhode Island landmarks and gets excited and really gets behind us. I've been a local business owner for over 20 years. I'm 40 years old.
Yeah,
Bob,
and your
you know,
business is, what is your business?
Well, we own a jewelry manufacturing company, Glitzy Girl. We have also a clothing line, Bound by the Crown. You just had my business partner on, Tony Lynn Spaziano.
Right.
And you know, that's national. So we have a lot of businesses here in Rhode Island too. We do Style Week every year,
Yeah.
and then my husband, of course. So so it's great.
Wow.
I'm really excited.
The Game of Crowns.
That's it.
Premieres on the 13th at, I know it's a Sunday night. What time? 9?
9 o'clock,
9.
yep.
So it isn't too bad. It's 9 o'clock. So
No.
It can't be. Did you know this useless fact, that there have been more Rhode Islanders in reality shows than any other state?
You mean winners?
Proportion to population.
Yeah.
There have been more Rhode Islanders than any other. And by the way, the very first reality show of any consequence, I'm sure there was some little ones around at some point, but the very first reality show of any consequence was Survivor.
Richard Hatch.
And Richard Hatch.
Yep.
And you had the girl from
You have
Cranston
Claudia
that won
Jordan.
Claudia Jordan. You had the girl from Cranston that Hasselback. She went on to bigger and better things, a lot of them. So I guess we're almost done. We're out of here. Folks, thank you for spending an hour with Bob.